see where that priority is going to lie here as bans underway. And then first off, it will be the Elise being taken away from Ryan.
I really like, now that we're having all of these series, we're starting to see the big differences. For example, earlier on, I believe Ornn wasn't actually that hot earlier. But now for Talon, though, I feel like Hanabi would like to pick that up. So we'll have to see whether or not Nova would like to use a ban against Hanabi.
Yeah, for Hanabi, he's recently been having some really good performances when it comes to his Ornn. So I think that is fair to maybe try and, get a ban out of Nova if, Rocky doesn't want to have to deal with that. We do see, though, it's going to be the set banned away from Rocky as well. LeBlanc and Aphelios banned out by Nova on red side, and final ban for Talon will be this Kalista.
Yeah, usually earlier at red side, it was the usual ban, but because you're up against Mixcross, who did play a good amount, equal amount of time on Kalista and as well as Vara, so they're removing something away from Nova. Talon, though, either can decide to pick up the Varus just to deny that away from Mixcross, but we'll have to see what the plan is in mind as, Ornn is taken out.
Well, that does mean, though, the Rek'Sai is available, and that's usually been the go-to first pick for Talon, but no! They're going to go ahead with the Sejuani here for River.
This is very interesting, right? They usually go for either the Rek'Sai, maybe even the J4, but they want to deny this away from Ryan, since Ryan has been the most, he's been falling back more on towards the Sejuani to enable, G4 and as well as Rocky at top side.
Well, who knows now? Maybe there was a little bit of a mix-up there on the graphic. Maybe it was that Rek'Sai. Who knows? As we'll hopefully get ourselves back into the draft. But as far as the bans go, like we mentioned, we expected that Ornn ban to be coming out from the side of Nova because Hanabi has had such great performances. The LeBlanc also being taken away from Candy. He's been well known for his LeBlanc in the mid lane, but still has other options like that Azir, as well as I believe he's got a couple of pocket picks that we have still yet to see in the PCS.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Hanabi in Talon in general is that when the split began, Hanabi has been very low-key, mostly outshined by either Candy or Unified. But as the PCS progressed, we've been seeing such amazing performances, whether or not he's on that utility without Ornn, or perhaps a very stellar performance on the Quinn. So he did indeed show that he can play the laning phase, as in the 1v1s, if ever Talon decides to opt for that sort of strategy.
Yeah, we'll see here. Draft, I believe, is still taking place, so we're going to have to do a little bit of catch-up, but it's all building that tension as we get to see our first game. Again, for Nova, I know the team has had its ups and downs when it comes to the regular season. We've been talking a lot about talent here, so I think Nova deserves a couple words, of course, as Nova have... I know, there's been a rough and tough pass with a lot of these players. Again, they've been, like we mentioned, Rocky, G4. They've been going from organization to organization when it comes to Southeast Asia, and has always been at the top of their game within the former LST and as well as some of the GPL. But now you come into this PCS and you're no longer, the top dogs on the block pretty much. You now have to go against these former LMS squads like Talon, who's put together this arguably what appeared to be a super roster at the beginning of the split.
Yeah, that's true. Especially when VCS had VCS, and now Thailand has definitely been such a scary force in the SEA region, and a lot of the region has respected Thailand. And you're right, now that this dynamic has been different because again of the addition of the former LMS squads into this, it's actually very very proud to see them make it towards playoffs, considering there's been a lot of tough competition. You did mention there's a lot of ups and downs, and I just want to praise Nova Esports for managing to pull through with all that, making it to playoffs, and also Rocky with such an intense adjustment from the first few weeks of the PCS, always Renekton, up until it kept getting banned, and then he tries to pick up all of these really interesting picks like the Kalista and as well as the Lucian at topside, and therefore teams just started to not ban Renekton anymore and see how the lane plays out.
Yeah, because the other thing about Nova here is we now get to see how they evolve within a series. It's always been best of ones here and there, and the team, I like to call them, they're one of our swing teams. They're pretty much a team that is heavily impacted by either the games they just played or games they've played within the week. It's rare that we see them go able to pick up a victory if they lose out a game earlier during the weekend. So we'll have to see here as we just come on back to us for the meantime, and we'll be hopefully getting into our champion select quite shortly. Not too sure what's going on here, Riku.
Yeah, at that point it's about Nova. I think they're no strangers definitely to all of these BO5s and all that, as considering that they've managed to, from at the back of my head in terms of memory, for at least for the side of the three players like G4, Rocky, and Pop, they've managed to get all of these 3-0s and best of 5s. But now we're at the best of 3. The first game will definitely count for them to get that momentum, or else it's one of those things where it's really hard to get back to it, considering that's Talon Esports who managed to 2-0 them during the round robin, which that in itself poses a huge threat already on paper.
Yeah, and like, especially, I know they're a heavy morale team, so like we mentioned, maybe they've been able to take a step back, get set for this playoff matchup. Maybe, you know, Warlock has some secret, you know, pocket picks available. Maybe they want to try and, you know, not show that immediately, because I know that was something that he'd like to do over in the LST, or the team used to with the old coaching staff before Warlock moved into the full coaching role, was always keeping, you know, something up their sleeve possibly when it comes to some of these playoff series, especially against some tough rosters like Talon Esports.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a little bit familiar for them. I think it's because, you know, Big Papa is their coach, and for, I believe, G4, Rocky, and Pop, back then Big Papa was also their coach back in Mega, so that's actually such an interesting what do you call the story behind this matchup in particular. But yeah, you're right, Warlock right now in that coaching role for the side of Nova Esports, and right now we have seen a little bit combination here and there in terms of styles, but it seems to me Nova does like to play the laning, the 1v1, so to take off and translate that to a lead and perhaps even the game.
Yeah, they're able to get those leads. It's just, where else are you able to put this gold when it comes to it? That's always been, you know, the asterisk when it comes to Nova as a whole during the split is, yeah, Rocky can get ahead in lane. Yeah, Rocky can get a 1,500 gold lead. Only Rocky can get a 1,500 gold lead. No one else can get a 1,500 gold lead. Okay, there's something going on here. And on top of that, too, like, I give credit to Mixcross. He has greatly improved from what we saw at the beginning of the split, but I still see him as one of the more weaker bot laners, especially when you're going up against Kaiwing and Unify.
Yeah, and considering what we've seen so far in the other bot laners as well, when it go against the top 80 carries in the whole tournament, they've managed to gain some confidence and not rely on their junglers to make something happen at the bottom side of the map. Of course, if the pick permits it, if the lane permits it. But at the same time, for Mixcross, what if they do win the matchup on paper? Will he be able to do something with Pop, or just wait until that 20-minute mark and be active more on those team fights, or either of the objective takes?
Yeah, because we're not seeing the old style of Pop where he would often be roaming around the map trying to make plays in that mid lane to help out G4. He's actually been having to stay a lot toward the bot side of the map. So with that little rift here, I can tell you, we're loading on into game already. We'll see what the picks are. I see a Blitzcrank, I see a Gragas, I see a Silas, I see a Varus. I'm going to bet you that's Nova. And on the other side, it's going to be, another Akali pickup, a Senna, the Jarvan, and a whole bunch of others. We'll see what the full comps are as we load on into the Rift for Game 1 of our playoff matchup between Talon and Nova.
What a delight, what a surprise. I'm guessing, is there a Thresh that got picked up? Nope, it's going to be a Tom Kench. You know, Pop does love his hook champions. Thresh was one of his favorites. But now, going for the Blitzcrank.
All right, so we get to see Rocky got his Renekton. We mentioned, you know, Rocky, whenever the Renekton's usually open, will take it. Hanabi, though, is going to be onto a Mordekaiser, and Hanabi's had some really good Mordekaiser games when it comes to the PCS regular split. He's had a couple of monster performances. River this time around, though, opting to go back to the Jarvan, though the Rek'Sai was banned out, was available.
That's true. It has been, I believe, at least in terms of, in case this goes late game, you do have that utility available on the Cataclysm, and it's perfect. Once you see a Varus on the opposite side, then that's just an easy trap for an AD carry such as that. But on the other hand, everything seems so standard. Coming from the previous game from earlier, but again, a lot is on the line. At least not immediately eliminated, but going towards the lower bracket, which they'll have to face HKA.
Yeah, you have to go against Hong Kong Attitude. On top of that, even though if you do win this matchup, I think you would have to face the loser of then the winner of this game versus AHQ. So there's almost no escaping it, even if you get knocked out. But we'll have to see. As Ryan is going to be starting on toward the top side of the map, no real ward coverage came out from Talon, so they don't know where this Gragas is exactly. But you already see Rocky positioning very aggressive here in the lane.
Yep, looks like they will be able to match. Again, what Talon is anticipating is an early gank coming from Ryan, and Gragas has been very on and off in the whole PCS split. Sometimes you see him in the first week, then sometimes he's sort of out of popularity, and then now he's back again. And we've seen really killer body slams, which will definitely enable Rocky once Ryan decides to gank the lane.
Oh, Rocky, though, underneath the tower is going aggressive. Hanabi also has River nearby, has level 3 available. Right, he just gets a solo kill here as Rocky gets taken down. First blood over to Hanabi.
That is quite unfortunate. Rocky, I know he had a level lead. He was trying to, but that's actually pretty interesting. No vision on the River as well, so if River started on the red side, it would be the perfect timing for a gank after his blue buff.
And that's with Rocky not getting, like, you know, raked in underneath tower. That's just a straight 1v1 with Hanabi, you know, winning.
Yeah, and considering you're not level 3 as well, and that is one of the strongest points of the Renekton, so not able to take advantage of that.
Well, this mid lane, we get to see Candy on Akali, which I think is very fun. I like that pros are starting to bring out the Akali after the buffs, and now G4 might be forced to have to use his flash. He does have that dash, though, and he gets himself over to safety across the wall.
Yep, and right now there is there is good vision from Talon, watching where Ryan is rotating, and that's the problem. We've never actually seen Nova Esports take off in a game where they had air quote a peaceful lane, and as well as sort of play from behind. So with that, Talon right now has tabs on Ryan, and they can simply try to adjust with his movements.
It does mean that Ryan, if he wants to, could apply a lot of pressure toward the bot side of the map. It is hard, though, especially when you have a Kench always trying to protect that Senna, so unless you get the Kench early in the game, try and knock him down for a couple takes, then there's the opportunity. But hey, I see River toward this top lane, deciding whether or not he wants to be aggressive here. Looks like Hanabi's going to push back the wave anyway, so Rocky should be safe.
Yep, definitely. As a really nice trade from Hanabi, especially that Rocky lost the initial fight earlier and got solo killed, not even needing the help of River. This actually would set Rocky aback a little bit, considering, again, this is what Nova likes to play at top side.
Well, Ryan's nearby, though, coming through the lane. He will expose himself, though, on the brush ward if he decides to try and go for the gank. Instead, he opts to go back toward his Krugs that were kind of, you know, already taken down by River as he left the small Krug. So Ryan, fortunately, not able to gain really anything with his roam toward the top side of the map.
Yeah, a lot of coverage. It actually says a lot. For Talon, they've pretty much made Hanabi's lane safe through vision. Meanwhile, for Talon, for Nova though, they've actually riddled the bot side with wards earlier, but now it has expired, so at least they do know where River is.
And Ryan is going to show himself as he puts out the quick barrel to try and, you know, get the Raptors going. Instead, though, Ryan's already clearing that one out. We see the mid lane, though, starting to form a bit of a CS advantage, especially in favor of Candy. Rocky, though, wants to get aggressive here. Pullback isn't going to be there. His level 6 is hit for the Renekton as he's been pushing in the wave hard. Both top laners now having 6 in their arsenal.
Yeah, beautifully done. Trade there, but because of the backs, looks like nothing will happen there aside from just chunking down and resetting. Yeah, it's already level 6 for the mid laners as well. For G4, what is there to be stolen? For River, Cataclysm is a good start. Unified's ult is actually pretty good as well when it comes to the team fight, so he's pretty much secured for that big ult when it comes to the team fights.
I can always use Hanabi's ultimate against him and try and, seal off Unified in the Death Realm, especially during the later game team fights, if he can get going on the Sylas. And I mentioned briefly that Candy's already been able to start to develop a decent little CS lead, and we've seen G4 actually kind of low in a couple of these trades, as Pop might be looking for a hook here. Ryan's also coming down. Do they actually find it? Unified is exposed toward the side. Here comes Pop over. Wants to try and find the hook. And not able to find it as the flash comes out from Kaiwing. That does allow the Senna to get eaten up immediately and then try and turn the fight. Get a little bit of damage back onto Mixcross.
Beautifully done. Even getting that Devour and then release. Again, the miss just really does a lot in dodging these skill shots. So Pop has to sort of guess and sort of time it perfectly. And with that said,
oh, that's going to be Hanabi popping his ultimate up toward the top lane. Rocky is caught out waiting for his cooldowns. River's also going to come back in and join the action as Rocky, unfortunately, he's going to get taken down low, and he gets just taken out in general as the execute comes through from the Cataclysm.
I was a little bit worried there that perhaps it's going to be a 1-1 in the end, but because River's perfect timing of being around that area as well, good bait, knowing the fact that you are a Renekton, you want to get on ahead as well. So this is a little bit more calculated. This is the expected outcome.
Yeah, unfortunately there for Rocky, he has always been known to play it on the edge, and Hanabi was waiting on the cooldown for his shield, so it was a close trade. Almost was able to get the 1-for-1, but with that, Hanabi is going to be able to get a decent little CS advantage as well as an experience advantage as they crash the wave.
Yep, and meanwhile for Nova, wanted to take this dragon, decides not to do it because they don't have priority in mid lane. You did mention Candy does have that either not only CS lead but also life lead in the trades. It's the Vamp Scepter that definitely made it possible for G4 not able to trade properly after a while.
And it's back to the same old here with Hanabi just freezing the wave outside his tower. Rocky getting a little bit impatient, wants to get aggressive, and again, we'll just jump on immediately. But Hanabi at this point has a little bit extra, AP in his back pocket, a little bit extra health as well, and is going to start winning out these trades against the Renekton.
Yeah, even getting that Seekers as well on your side really does help when it comes to trading against Rocky and surviving his usual combo of getting diving in, getting at least that slice of life, and then go back out. But it seems it's not the story of this lane this time around, as Hanabi has been timing the rigs properly. So for Rocky, after dealing his combo, there's not a lot of options, as Hanabi will just walk towards you and get that set up for himself.
With that, Ryan's going to be able to pick up the first Rift Herald of the game. Meanwhile, River trades back immediately, picking out the Ocean Drake. He's spotted out on a ward though, so that gives Nova full knowledge that the Jarvan's going to at least trade that back, as Nova have already rotated their bot lane toward top side. River with Rift Herald in hand, they might look to try and crack open this tower.
Very, very fast, actually. And with that said, it's usually, the Rift Herald platings is usually given to the Renekton. But now, though, it's a different story.
See Rocky at least trying to defend the bot side away from Nova. Hanabi is here, though, and with him and his presence, he's actually able to avoid that tower going down on this wave. Next wave, though, will crash in, and that should be the first brick gold going over in favor of Nova and putting it onto Mixcross.
Yeah, it's definitely a race towards first tower, as you see bot also trying to fast push as they scare away Rocky out of the bot lane. Still lingering around at least to get a little bit of the dying minions experience.
Now Rocky's
clear the wave.
Going for it. Clears out the wave. Ryan's nearby, pops the Predator, but not able to get within range of River. Still though, pressure is going to keep on going, even using the cast to clear out the minion wave, so that's going to force Unified and Kaiwing back in the lane.
And with that, Nova wins that trade, as they managed to at least let that tower survive. And with that, we did mention that usually when we see that Rift Herald being taken, especially you rotate your bot lane, because of the swap, it's not going to go for Rocky. Usually the formula for this Renekton, get a 2-0 before 10 minutes, and then you get that funnel of that Rift Herald. But it didn't happen for Nova, and I suppose, you know, Mixed Cross again has to make this work with the Varus.
Yeah, putting a lot of pressure here on Mixed Cross for their first game, as unfortunately G4 hasn't been able to roam around, kind of like what we saw from Assassin in the earlier series on the night when he had Silas, was trying to make impacts into the bot lane, and we haven't seen Pop able to get many hooks here. It's been a rather quiet lane phase for the bot side of the map. On top of that, Kaiwing's been able to actually pick up his Dead Man's Plate, so he's got a little bit extra move speed and a little bit extra upfront damage with his defensive stats stacked on. Candy's just clearing out mid lane. It's been a quiet bot side of the map.
Oh!
Speaking of that, Unify got hooked over the wall, so that's going to be the first kill going in favor of Nova. Mixed Cross trying to at least answer on back here, but that's 4 members of Talon coming in for the party, as that's going to be the flash forward coming out from Candy, able to find his first execute, and there you go. Candy on the board with his first kill of the game.
And Dragon hasn't spawned yet, but the timing is actually perfect, so at least you only lose 1 kill, but not anything else around the map. So that is quite a relief coming from the side of Talon. Oh, Nova, rather. But now they're gonna go back to their own lanes.
Candy, though, getting his first kill of the game is a bit scary now, as this Akali can jump onto targets like the Gragas, like the Varus. Let's take a look here. It's just a lack of vision and respect coming out from Talon.
Yeah, they went towards this area near the Dragon Pit, therefore there was a ward, got spotted. But at the same time, at least they managed to get 1 more kill. That flash dive in coming from Candy. Beautifully done, as Nova Esports just wanted to run away.
There we go. Meanwhile, mid lane, G4 having to clear out the wave as the Senna and Akali try and pressure in toward the mid lane. And for Nova, at least, you're starting to get your first items to come online. They got the Proto Belt here for G4, so maybe he can start looking for plays himself, but gotta be careful, because that's going to be a revolver finished off here for Candy on the next back. G4 not actually able to land the chain there, and it's going to be immediately into the Mordekaiser ultimate. Candy, though, in this 1v1, standing up a little bit longer, able to, as Candy, even underneath there, gets taken down. A beautiful barrel coming out from Ryan, is able to time it correctly. Pop is also going to try and answer here, gets the silence, and you know what's coming. Unfortunately, River going to get taken down as Pop takes him out with the rocket grab, and Unified flashing forward. Rocky, though, on the quick flank, able to get the stun, and the Senna's going to be taken out.
That was more of a people falling down like dominoes times there in the mid lane, as you get an exchange kill for an exchange kill. It's still not over.
Oh, Hanabi, woo, this Mordekaiser does damage. Rocky trying to escape to safety. He'll get taken down, though, by Kyra.
And with that, that is officially the end of what happened from the mid lane. And I want to see that again, because it was definitely G4 starting this one with Ryan nearby. Definitely, Candy had no escape as he was trapped in the realm, but because of the cast, it was definitely the nail in the coffin as more members start to converge here. And Unified, you don't usually see Unified to flash in advance just to get 1 kill and sort of endanger yourself.
Meanwhile, though, you can take a look toward the live feed. It's going to be Talon starting up this Infernal Drake, and it's going to be back toward this 5v5. Dragon is secure. G4 gets pulled on back, forced to flash to safety. Pop almost able to land the rocket grab. Does not connect on anyone, though, and that's going to be second Drake going in favor of Talon.
Yeah, and it seems to me they're, again, very satisfied with just getting the objectives and then fighting later. And this is definitely a different sight coming from Unified, especially you usually see these sort of air quote flashy plays when it comes to the late game when it counts, but flashing forward and sort of endangering yourself, at least I think it's one of those things where you just wanted to get a consolation prize. And now Unified still sticking around.
Unified able to get a decent chunk of damage. He has finished off his first lethality item, so that Senna does do a decent amount of damage. Candy also has the Hextech Revolver completed. Gunblade, apologies. And with that, the Akali's going to have a decent upfront amount of burst if Nova are not careful, and that's going to be the first tower taken for Talon. Meanwhile, though, Rift Herald immediately started by Nova.
Yeah, and right now Nova has complete control. Pop has Shirelius, so can immediately try to pop that out. Get a hook.
Members. Here we go. Kench though into the backline. A nice Cataclysm blocks down Mixed Cross. He'll get taken down by Unified. Unified on the other side of the fight, able to occupy them in a beautiful Devour coming out, saving Candy. Ryan is stuck within the Death Realm, gets out of it, and now hunting possibly for this Akali, but he's got nowhere to go. And Unified is now in the mid lane, gonna go ahead and take out Pop as well. Double kill for the Senna, and Talon really starting to pick up the pressure.
And we did mention before, when we see a Senna, it's definitely more on being felt later on towards the game. And then considering, again, Hanabi had early kills. He's 2-0-2 right now. Unified even, I believe, getting that double kill earlier on. So at this point, you're just speeding the process of where Unified is just going to be very scary when it comes to the fight.
And it starts off with a beautiful engage coming out.
Yeah, and it trapped the main carries as G4 is definitely the only one left. And at this point, Rocky already sort of gave up and just wanted to go back and save himself at least. Because at this point, after the immediate death of Mixed Cross, it was the loss already of Nova.
And with that, it's going to be about a 3,500 gold lead in favor of Talon before the 20-minute mark. That's now 2 dragons underneath their belt, and like you mentioned, going to pick up more items for the Senna. Going to be looking toward her second lethality item, and that's when she starts to really come online, as Kaihu's been farming up a storm, by the way, on this Kench. He's actually getting himself to be a bit of a menace himself. And right now for Nova, it's getting a little concerning because these skirmishes just haven't been going in their favor, even when they're so close to killing targets like Unified and like Candy.
Yeah, Kaiwing has been doing a great job with the timings on the Devour and not allowing any of the members fall, and that was definitely clean, so there's no exchange whatsoever, even though Nova just wanted to fully commit towards that fight. And again, another tower for Talon, and with the vision covered for that red buff of Nova Esports, they're sort of safe and just lingering around at this point for now.
And with that, a push going to come out toward the top side of the map. 3 members here for Talon is G4. Maybe going to try and walk out of that brush to prevent Shelly from getting the charge off. No!
Oh!
And unfortunately, doesn't kill Shelly before she gets the ram into the tower, so that's going to be the second tier tower taken below half health. Something to worry about there for Talon. If they wish to continue pushing up toward that lane, Nova, unfortunately, always going to have Rocky or G4 nearby, but with neither one having teleport, it always draws them away from a possible fight.
Yep, and then that's definitely the scary part. But good news, at least for Nova, their ward coverage, at least for topside, which is the most vulnerable right now, is being riddled with control wards on the side of Nova. And as well as a little bit of advanced wards towards the side of Talon. So they do have information, at least for bot side, considering there is a 30-second timer for Cloud Drake to spawn in a few. So for Nova, they want to deny that third from Talon for sure.
I was going to say, I was getting concerned for Rocky, but he has now just finished off his Black Cleaver. He ended up getting the QSS tax immediately during the game, so he could stop getting ulted by Hanabi. He was getting a little annoyed with that. He also got Mixed Cross, who now has his Bork, so you're starting to see a couple of these first items come online for Nova, so they can try and at least stand on equal footing compared to Talon.
And because of, Talon has been winning these attacks, okay.
Going in aggressively now, as that's going to be Unified taken down. He's so far in the back line, but in comes the rest of the squad from the side of Talon. A nice kill coming through from Candy. It's a double kill for Pop, but you don't want that Blitzcrank picking up all these kills at this point. Candy with no energy. He's saved, though, by the Devour, and that was beautiful coming out from Kaiwing once again.
What?
As Hanabi able to find a kill of his own. Candy finishes off the Renekton.
Oh, it was a Voyage.
Voyage comes out. Ryan maybe just trying to bait in this. Oh no, that's not good. Candy picks up his continued kill as he's now on a killing spree, 4-1-3, and Talon really starting to run away with things.
Kaiwing be crazy on this Kench. Anyway, let's take a look at this again. So it was Nova that started the fight. They got the Chain of Corruption on towards the Kench. Unfortunately, it was Unified that immediately fell as the silence was just too much coming from the Blitzcrank. But we did mention, even if you kill the AD carry, you still have Candy to worry about, and he's been very scary. He was actually untouched up until Rocky realized that there's still Candy for the threat. But Kaiwing managed to devour Candy in time, therefore getting the cooldowns up, and this is perfect, blocking the escape route of Ryan, so he's forced to take the other way around where Candy is going to meet him there.
And there you go. Talon now find themselves up 7 kills over Nova with a 5,000 gold lead. Now looking toward Cloud Soul on the next dragon spawn. So far, game's pretty much gone fully in their favor. Nova, I mentioned that maybe that was the fight they could fight on with equal footing when they had their first items, but unfortunately, there's just too many threats as Candy once again on this Akali. Looking to just shred apart G4. It's an ult for an ult. River's going to come on by, and you know what's going to happen. He's going to get taken on down by the Dragon Strike.
Ooh, and Nova, this is actually a very familiar scene. We did mention at the beginning of the game, we've never seen Nova win a game where their early game lost.
Yeah, on average, Nova, when they fall behind this early in the game, especially by this much, it is such an uphill battle. And you even see Ryan just ate up. You got River at least jumping in onto the back line. Then Ultimate comes on through, and Unify takes down Mixcross. And unfortunately, the bodies are starting to scatter here on the side of Nova as Talon push in for the second tier tower.
A lot of trust, and you can see River quite advanced despite Unified and Kaiwing still trying to finish off the other targets at the back line or the front line. And with that said, not even a return kill from River with the few seconds of a 1v2 inside the Cataclysm. This is the sign of how behind Nova is right now in the game state.
And it's unfortunate because, like, Rocky on this Renekton, he's supposed to act as a little bit of that bridge in the early to mid game for the rest of the squad, but unfortunately, they're just so far behind at this point that there's not a whole lot they can do, and they have to use ultimates just to try and kite back, but River's already onto your Mixcross.
And this is what we were talking about. River had to 1v2 a few seconds and wait for Unified to get in, and River, again, didn't die throughout this whole exchange, and we mentioned how tanky Kaiwing is. If you invest so much, it's not gonna pay off with a Visage and it's an engage.
They use everything on a Kaiwing, but see, he's so tanky on this Kench. They can't do anything, and now the counter re-engage comes out from Talon. Ryan's just gonna get taken on down. Rocky's trying to be that front line. Piercing Arrow comes out, but he's not a lethality bar, so there's nothing he can do, and they just brought River closer to the carry as Pop uses the rocket grab. Candy on the back line, and this Akali able to claim her target. It's 20-6, and it's Talon looking to close out game 1 here shortly as they immediately go on course to the Baron.
And that is quite a tragic fight for Nova. And we did mention before the fight even started, I was talking about Deadman's Plate Visage already on the side of Kaiwing. So if you invest a lot on resources just to try and eliminate Kaiwing, it's not gonna equate to the results that you wanted to. And you're right, it was the re-engage. Now they won the fight, and now it's Baron.
There you go. Baron secured by Talon at 24.5 minutes. Looking to reset. It's 20-6, the kill count. It's been a bloody mess for Nova. As we take another look here as they invest everything onto a super farm catch.
Yeah, it was one of those things where he's the only one that was in their range. And might as well, because Kaiwing has been saving so much, either Candy or Unified towards the fight. So it's one of those things where even if you leave the Tahm Kench alone, he's still gonna create more damage towards the team fights.
And you saw there too, dear. Candy. If he's got access to this Varus, Mixcross is just gonna go down instantly. Hanabi is now a monster. He's got his Leandries, he's got his Zonias, starting to stack toward his Nashor's Tooth. You also got Morellos for the Akali. You're looking at third item soon for the Senna. And unfortunately, this Game 1 scenario is looking very dire on the side of Nova.
And now it's just defense mode, yes, for Nova. And because we did mention about, we talked about the time where they all had the one item spike for both of these teams, and now the gap is slowly becoming more apparent with 2 more items on the side of Talon. They're 1 item ahead rather against Nova, and now they're heading over towards this 4th dragon, and it's looking really grim for Nova.
Again, extra cooldown reduction on the ultimate, as well as the extra move speed. And Talon could even look toward the Elder Drake, but honestly, they're so far ahead at this point. They could just look to close this game out, and it's going to come down to Nova trying to find an opportunity to maybe cheese a pick here. Can they get Unified and Kaiwing caught out off guard? But even with that Edge Knight, Unified has that extra layer of safety.
Yeah, considering that there is still a stopwatch, he still has 2 of his sums intact, and make that 3 summoner spells with Kaiwing always next to him.
There you go. Siege comes in. First inhibitor tower in mid lane's taken down. Inhibitor's going to shortly follow. As unfortunately nothing Nova can really do here at this point. They can try and turtle, but they're going to lose their structures one by one. Is Talon now looking toward the second inhibitor.
And Nova has to get a good pull in.
It doesn't land though, and once that rocket grab misses instantly, the trigger is pulled by the side of Talon as they just go ahead. Kaiwing is going to be trapped within the death round by G4, but guess what? That Kench doesn't care what you're trying to do here. It's a beautiful knock-up by Ripper as he comes out, and now another rocket grab, not going to land, and the siege is still here on the side of Talon. No one falls, but the tower shall, and unfortunately Nova, there's nothing they can do. They have to make their hold at some point, but Pop is going to get just decimated by this Mordekaiser. River underneath the fountain, he doesn't care. Shutdown goes on over to Ryan, but it's already GG at this point. Double kill coming out from Candy, and with that, Talon take game 1.
So that was 5 cannon minions knocking towards the Nexus towers of Nova Esports, and that just like another day at work for Hanabi.
He's just sipping away on his water. He's doing pretty good, and for Talon, it's now looking at just a single game to move on to the next round of playoffs.
That is just wow. For Nova, again, their template plan is definitely having Ryan assist Rocky, but it's just one of those things where the laning phase didn't really work out especially for Rocky, and considering he lost to a 1v1 against Hanabi means it just checks out. We did mention that Hanabi has been very low-key during the first few weeks of the PCS, but he has made a statement at the second round robin where he can just, not rely too much on the jungler and just fight for the 1v1s.
Yeah, because like Hanabi is just, he got ahead. Simple as that. There wasn't anything really that could be done. And Rocky, he tried his hardest to try and go for an outplay early on in that lane, but you kind of have to throw in the towel at some point here when you keep falling in lane time and time again, especially then where you have River that's like, okay, yeah, Rocky's going to be aggressive. I'll just come and camp him. And I wasn't too impressed also from Pop. I love seeing him on the Blitzcrank. Not this time around, though. I didn't really see any good rocket grabs come out. He wasn't able to find those targets, and even when he did, Kaiwing on this Kench was an absolute maniac.
Just huge props to Kaiwing, to the point that he was just very key to saving either Candy or Unified. Nova was like, okay, let's just try to burst down Kaiwing there just to eliminate that second layer of safety away from Candy and as well as Unified. But unfortunately, it just backfired and it just pressed on with Talon's lead even more.
And unfortunately for poor Mixcross then, if you have a Blitzcrank that's bringing in a Kench nearby or a Jarvan, there's not a whole lot he could do there on the side of Mixcross, and you're still waiting for him to scale up to his, 3 to 4 items when it comes to this Varus, so there wasn't a whole lot he could do. We're going to go ahead and take a quick look toward one of the Rift Herald fights that unfortunately really blew the game wide open on the side of Talon.
This is, I believe, the first Rift Herald of the game. And this is the time where River trapped Mixcross and Rocky in this arena, and Unify just came from the side, and Nova was basically sort of split in half, trying to figure out who they needed to kill, considering the AD carry is right in front of us right now. And with that, Talon, just such a very impressive and clean game.
Yeah, not a whole lot they could do there, and even underneath the tower, Pop is still going to get taken down. And when your Senna gets a double kill before, 20 minutes into the game, because Rift Herald was still on the map, I think he had 5 kills by that point. It was pretty much GG as Talon take home the victory in a sub 30-minute game.
Yes, and the thing is, every single lane really won theirs, and we were expecting the roams coming from G4 on the Sylas, but You had Candy keeping him on a tight leash in that lane and getting priority, and therefore Nova was just pretty much shackled from early towards the mid game and didn't really get to translate any of the lanes into something that they wanted to be.
Now for me, my question becomes, who would you give MVP in this case to? We had Kaiwing had a really good Kench. We also had Candy, who brought out the Akali this time around. It looks like production said we're going to go with Candy on the Akali as he picks up MVP.
Yep, but Candy definitely deserved it. Really gave Mixcross a hard time, especially when it comes to the mid-game fights, and therefore didn't able to do 80 carry things basically, as he was just busy trying to brush off Candy. But again, Akali 717, not exactly, you can't exactly try to fight it.
Yeah, Candy got ahead so early in the game. Unfortunately, poor G4, like you even saw during the lane phase, G4 was having issues when it came to the Akali matchup, so unfortunately not able to find the victory there on the side of Nova. And we know how this team is. They can have a tough time recovering after a loss, and for Talon, they might be looking at a very quick 2-0 for their first playoff round.
And that's the thing, we've seen moments of brilliance coming from Nova, especially in terms of their early game, where they also focused at bot side instead of towards Rocky and involved every single person at the first 10 minutes of the game. So that's what I want to see in the next match, and hopefully, you know, no Tam Kiss just to try to protect that early game towards Unified.
Yeah, unfortunately, like Unified himself is almost ban-worthy when it comes to his Kench. He's had a nasty Kench when it comes to the overall PCS regular split here in spring, so we'll have to see what the plan is going to be for the side of Nova. What do they want to try and change up when it comes to the draft? What do they want to change up when it comes to the game plan? Because something has to change or else they're going to be knocked into the lower bracket. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, Game 2 between Talon and Nova.